We know DC Comics has been in trouble for a long, long time. In 2020, it went through a round of crazy layoffs where it looked like the publishing company might not survive. Of course, Ethan Van Sciver commented on that, and it spurred this whole news cycle where everybody said, oh, he's crazy. It's never going to shut down. But more and more people are seeing that the comic industry is dying. We've seen comic shops closing on repeat. One just closed, of course, this month already in the new year in Ohio, and we reported on that earlier this year. And we're seeing the trends looking really not good. DC Comics doesn't really have much in terms of its top sellers either. It's got the Batman comic, and that's it. Everything else is going by the wayside. Nobody's buying any of this stuff. Nobody wants a gay Green Lantern or Tom King Wonder Woman Trump fest. It's absolutely crazy what they're determining to publish at this juncture. But they're going forward. And of course, DC's got bigger problems which are happening, which are going to be occurring very, very soon, which we're going to get into in just a moment. My name's John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author and, of course, the most trusted name in comic news. If you want to support our alternative news, please do so. I'm urging you to get on our Subscribe Star today. This Subscribe Star, of course, helps me with the channel and everything like that. And what I do is I put up all of my fiction on here for everybody. So, of course, I've got comics coming out. This helps pay for some of the art. It helps pay for some of the hosting costs for Fandom Pulse. And of course, this does take time and energy to do here. So please support our alternative news. Please support what I'm doing here. Please support our culture wars. Please support our books. This is a great spot to do so. I've also got links to my bookstore in the description below. There's channel memberships for the YouTube channel. I appreciate all you guys for being here. So here it is. Interesting stuff. This was the article from 2020 where Ethan Van Sciver says DC Comics would be closing and eventually Jim Lee would be leaving the company. Now, of course, we are 3 years later and things are spiraling. Things are slowing down for DC. They're trying yet another reboot with their Dawn of DC. And once this fails, what's going to happen? Are they going to just reboot it again? It's going to be a tough ask of readers at that point with all the Rebirth, Dawn of DC, New 52 over the last 15, 20 years. They've had way too many of these to already start. They were going to do Future State as a switch up for DC, but then they backed off of that because all those replacement characters from that ended up being something that nobody really wanted. So they made it a limited event, just showing a glimpse of a possible future rather than what DC actually wanted to do. And trust me, DC Comics wanted to make Batman black in this and replace him as well. And of course, retailers stood up to Dan DiDio in a summit to say, no, you're going to kill off all the sales if you do this. Please don't do this. That's why this got backed off to that level of a degree. But Razorfist commented on this situation today. He says, I'd say DC should be worried, but there's a very real possibility they will no longer be a company by them. What's he referring to? Well, you see, Superman and Lois Lane are set to enter the public domain in 2034. Oh my gosh, we are 11 years off of Superman being a public domain character. That's why DC's working so hard to make Jonathan Kent, the little gay Superman these days, as the new Superman and trying to get you to adopt that so that they can keep their license going and that they can kind of try to sue people who make different Superman comics at the end of the day. This being public domain is a huge hit for DC Comics, and Batman's not that far after that either. So these things are going to be a big problem as this company is at the end of its life cycle at this point. Stan Lee's stuff from Marvel is 30 years after all of this, and of course, the copyright laws have changed by then, so it becomes a big different thing for Marvel. But DC is in huge trouble. All of their assets are really coming up for grabs in short order. But again, are they going to even make it to that point? With the way that publishing is going at this point, I would not be surprised if DC does close its publishing wing sooner rather than later. While it didn't happen after the pandemic, while they did try this relaunch, once this fails, we're going to see a big, big problem here. They're already kind of abandoning continuity, abandoning everything being together, which they had since Crisis on Infinite Earths. And all the writers are kind of just doing their own thing at this point and not caring about what's going on in the past or what's going on with other titles. And this is making it a kind of bifurcated thing. So why not at that point just license your characters out? Like IDW could license out Batman and Marvel could license out Superman. And that'll be the end of that. DC might move to this point because with David Zaslav making all these cuts at Warner Brothers, you know they're not making money. It's not happening over at DC Comics at this point. It'd be easier just to license it and clip a return rather than hire all these people at the end of the day. So I think Razorfist has a good point here, and the comments are showing similar. Do you think DC will survive to 2030, let alone this? Oh my gosh. Absolutely crazy. Do you think the public could do more damage to Superman than what DC has already done? Of course, in reference to gay Superman here. They haven't used Superman right in years. That's one character I'd rather see my hands on the original creator's family or some entity that respects it. So people don't like what DC's done with Superman, and this has been well known for a long time. Superman's been a very underutilized character in the last few decades. They've really just attempted to do a lot, even before the woke stuff happened, with this, like, retelling of his origin over and over and over again. Oh, Superman from Krypton. Here's a new take on his origin by Mark Waid. Here's a new take on his origin by Jeff Loeb. They tell that story over and over and over again. They did a Straczynski one even. And it's like they don't know how to get past that Superman Krypton origin and tell an interesting story with the character. Very bizarre. But of course, that's where we're at these days. DC Comics is suffering for it, and we'll see what happens in the coming days. What do you think? Is DC going to close? Leave a comment down below. Again, make sure to get on our Subscribe Star. Very important stuff to support our efforts here in journalism. We appreciate you. And hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.